Welcome to class, everyone. So for today, this class is a restorative movement class. It's probably got more movement in it than some of the other restoratives that are on here, but it doesn't move and flow quite as much as a slow flow or a vinyasa. So it's a really nice class to find some movement but at a slower pace, and it moves into the whole of the body. We get movement into the hips, the ankles, even the toes, the wrists, but we're focusing mainly on the movement of the spine, and we're trying to find movement into all areas of the spine. So we have spinal extension, which is lengthening through the spine, spinal flexion, where you're folding forwards, for example, spinal rotation, which would be twisting, and lateral flexion, where we lean to the side. So the muscles, the internal and external obliques on the same side are contracting so that you can lengthen and stretch through the side body. So we're getting all those movements into the class, so it's really refreshing for the spine and it should leave you feeling super good. So as far as blocks and other props are concerned, they're not required at all. There are sections in the class where you could use a block if you have one, or a rolled up blanket to lay on to get a deeper opening through the heart, but they're not necessary. So if you have them, use them. I tell you when and where to use them throughout the class, but if you don't have them, don't stress. You'll still really enjoy it. So have fun, and I'll meet you in child's pose. So bring in the big toes to touch, take the knees a little bit wider apart and extend the arms forwards. And then just allow the forehead to rest down to the ground. You can always place a block under the forehead and just settle into the rhythm of the breath. Just feel the breath as it moves into the back of the body, filling up the back of the heart space. And just try and lift the elbows from the ground. See if you can walk the hands a little bit further forwards in front of you. And then walk the hands off towards the right side. And just allow the head to rest back down to the ground, and then the elbows can just come back to the ground as well. Just feel the subtle opening down the left side of the body as we're resting here with lateral flexion in the spine. So we'll lift the elbows from the ground and start to walk the hands over towards the left side. Just rest the arms and the head back down to the floor. Just be aware of the opening of the right side body. Then come back to the center. Move the arms back by the legs and just let the forehead rest onto the ground. The shoulder blades will move apart from one another. The spine's rounding in flexion. Enjoy another couple of breaths here. And then nice and slowly move your way onto hands and knees. And inhale, finding extension through the spine, so reaching the heart forwards. And as you exhale, we're going to round through the spine. This is our flexion of the spine. So just familiarize yourself with those two movements for now. Inhale into extension of the spine. And exhale for flexion of the spine. Now we're going to add in some lateral flexion as well by making big circles with the rib cage. So from the spinal extension, which we're in cow pose, move your rib cage over towards the left side. So you feel an opening of the left side body. Then round through the back as you come through the middle and take the rib cage over towards the right side. Then drop the heart down towards the ground as you move back to the middle. So you're making this really big circle with the rib cage. So don't worry too much if it's not such a fluid movement. Just try and find movement in any way through the spine. Okay, we'll take our circles around the other way. So we're going to start pushing the rib cage to the right, round in the spine, push the rib cage to the left, drop the heart down, and then keep going. And coming back to the center, we're going to either turn your fingertips out to face the edge of your mat, or you can turn them all the way back so the fingers are facing the knees. So just kind of find a position that's stretching your wrists, but not too intense. And you could always just do one hand at a time if you prefer. Then push the hands down and round through the spine, pulling the belly in, dropping the head towards the ground, creating all this flexion through the spine. Okay, come back to the center, just release the hands so the fingertips face forwards. And then we're going to just come onto the backs of the hands. So we're stretching the other side of the wrists now. So if you turn your fingers to face each other, but you're on the backs of the hands, so the palms are upwards. And you can stay, or you can start to bend the elbows, bringing the heart down, and then push into the backs of the hands and round the spine. Whatever feels a nice stretch today. And then come back onto the hands. Spreading the fingers nice and wide, tuck the toes under and come into downward facing dog. Start to pedal through the feet. And then bring the knees back down to the ground. Cross in at the ankles, just move back to sit onto the bottom. Then inhale, reach the arms up. Exhale, bring the left hand to the right knee and bring the right hand to the floor behind you. So take another deep breath in and lift the heart. And then exhale, pull the back shoulder further back as we rotate in the spine. So be careful not to lift the knee up. We want to make sure that we're just holding the knee without actually lifting it. You can push it down, or you could move your hand onto your thigh so you're not tempted to lift the knee. Just keep pulling the shoulder back. And release back to the center. With an inhale, reach the arms up. And exhale, turn to the left side, right hand to the left knee or thigh, left hand to the floor behind you. With your next inhale, lengthen the spine, lift the heart up. And exhale, pull the back shoulder back, turn more towards the left side. And come back to the center. Inhale, reaching the arms up. Exhale, the right hand's going to come to the floor, left arm's going to stay up. So next inhale, lengthen a bit more through the side body, really lifting the armpit away from the hip. And exhale, lean to the right side. So you can bend into your right elbow, maybe even bringing the forearm down to the ground. Keep reaching the fingertips away from you as we're now in lateral flexion of the spine. And come back to the center. Both arms down. And inhale, reaching the arms up. Exhale, bringing the left hand down, leave the right arm up. And really reach it up, lift the armpit away from the hip, and then lean over towards the left side, bending the left elbow, maybe coming onto the forearm. Take a nice deep breath into the rib cage. Come back to the center, bring the fingertips to the ground. Squeeze the two shoulder blades towards one another, lifting the heart. And as the spine moves into extension, take a deep breath. Now uncross the legs and just bring the feet flat onto the floor, a little bit wider than your hips. And inhale, pull the heart through between the thighs and up towards the sky. And exhale, pull the belly in, rounding through the spine, taking the sternum, the center of the chest, towards your pubic bone. Inhale, come back, push the heart forwards and up, spinal extension. Exhale and round, pubic bone towards the sternum, into spinal flexion. So a couple more with breath. Inhale, lift the heart. Exhale, round the back. And inhale, lift. Exhale, round. So we're going to come down to the ground, and if you would like to use a block or a blanket, you can. If you'd rather not, or you don't have one, it's not a problem at all. Just come down to lay flat on the back. If you're using a prop, then you want it to be right at the back of your heart space. Then just lay across, resting the back of the head to the ground. Extend the legs. Take the palms upwards towards the ceiling. We're just going to point and flex the feet, warming up the ankle joints. Then reach the arms and the legs up towards the ceiling. And start to make some circles with the wrists and the ankles. And take those circles in the other direction. And bring the feet flat onto the floor. Bring the arms into cactus pose. So the elbows are in line with the shoulders. Wrists in line with the elbows. If you can, don't worry if they don't, but if you can, just allow the backs of the hands to rest onto the floor. Take a deep breath. So if you're on a block like I am, then the spine's in more of an extension. So you'll feel more of a stretch across the front of the shoulders here. But even if you're on the ground, it's a nice opening for the heart space. Extend the legs, reach the arms up over the head. And really stretch in both directions, like someone's pulling your hands and your feet away from each other. And then bend the knees, bring the feet flat to the floor. And take the arms back into cactus pose. Take a nice deep breath. Now get the soles of the feet to touch and let the knees open out to the side. And then bring one hand onto the chest, one hand onto the belly. And connect with the body as it breathes. Inhale and feel the body expand. And exhale, allow it to soften. Bring the feet flat to the floor. Just grab hold of the backs of the thighs and pull yourself up to a seat. And we'll just cross the legs. Inhale, lift the heart, squeeze the two shoulder blades towards one another. Exhale, round in the spine, pulling the chin towards the chest. And again, extend the spine. And then round the spine. Just coming back to neutral, roll the shoulders up and back. And change the direction of the circles. Interlace the fingers, bring the hands to the back of the head and look up towards the ceiling. Just allow the weight of the head to rest back into the hands. So keep the heart lifted as we're in spinal extension. And then just start to bring the chin towards the chest. So don't move the position of the spine just yet, just the neck. So start to let the weight of the hands pull on the back of the head, bringing the chin towards the chest. The heart stays lifted. and hold for a breath. And then pull the belly in and start to round the spine, like you're going to bring your elbows down to your knees. And then sit back up, nice and tall. Push the heart forwards and let the weight of the head come back into the hands. Release the hands down, just bring the feet flat onto the floor. And let the knees start to move from side to side. So try and keep the heart lifted here. Don't roll back behind the sit bones and get all slouchy. Keep the chest lifted. Now hold the knees over towards the right side. And you're going to just bring your right leg a little bit further up so the ankle's in line with the knee. And then let the left knee rest down onto the ground or a block. We're going to bring the left hand onto the right thigh and start to twist towards your right side. So finding maximum rotation of the spine. And then unravel, keep the legs as they are. Actually, you can bring the right foot and touch it onto the thigh and start to twist towards the left side. If you feel any cramping in the hip, then you can just release the pose. So we come back to the center, lean back onto the hands, bring the feet flat to the floor. Keep the heart lifted and let the knees sway from side to side. Then let the knees fall over to the left side. So we're going to take the left foot further forward so the ankle's in line with the knee. And then the back leg, the right leg, you want your knee in line with your hip. Then bring your right hand onto the left thigh and start to turn towards the left side. So we're pulling the left shoulder back. Finding extension and rotation here. And then as you move back through the center, just bring the left foot to touch your right thigh and then twist towards the right side. Coming back to center, onto the hands, feet flat to the floor, and let the knees sway side to side, keeping the heart lifted. And then coming all the way onto hands and knees. Take a few more cat-cows, just connect with the breath, really slow it down and feel the ripple of the spine. Now keeping the spine in extension, so we're in cow pose. Just walk the knees back a little and start to bend the elbows and bring the heart down just to kiss the earth. So the bottom stays up in the air. Squeeze the two shoulder blades towards one another. And then unravel onto the belly. Bringing the forearms to the ground. Pull the two shoulder blades towards each other. Open up the heart space. Grip the fingertips into the mat. Pull the mat back. So the mat doesn't actually move, but you're just gripping the fingers so much into the mat, and then feel like you're dragging the hands back towards you, so the heart pulls forwards more and the shoulders back. So bring the right hand by the lower ribs, roll over onto your left hip, and then lift yourself up onto your left hand. So don't worry about your shoulder here. You're going to let the shoulder just sink and lift up by the ear, and then really work on trying to push the rib cage down towards the ground, stretching the left side of the rib cage. Now take your right foot and step it in front of the left leg. And you can bend your left knee just so that the thigh touches the ankle. Stay here for another breath. And reach the right arm out. And we're going to press down into the left hand and both feet to lift the hips up. And then sweep the right arm over the head. Lateral flexion, feeling the stretch down the right side of the body, and keep lifting the hips up. And bring the hand back to the floor and slither back onto your belly. Back onto the forearms. Gripping the ground with the fingertips. Feel like you're pulling the hands back towards you. Reach the heart forwards and the shoulders back. Take a nice deep breath. Sliding the left hand back by the lower ribs. You're going to roll over onto the right hip. And then lift the right elbow from the floor, come onto the right hand. Just allow the right shoulder to lift up by the ear as you sink the rib cage down to the ground. So you feel the muscles between the ribs, the intercostal muscles, are just gently stretching and opening there. This will help give you a deeper breath. Now bring the left foot, step it in front of the right thigh. Bend the right knee so the thigh connects with your left ankle. Now press down through your right hand and both your feet. Start to lift the hips. Reach the left arm up and over the head. And then bring the left hand back down to the ground and slither back down onto your belly. And take the right arm into cactus pose. So the elbow in line with the shoulder and the wrist in line with the elbow. Left hand by your lower ribs. And then you're going to use the left hand to push into and start to roll over onto your right hip. Okay, so keep the right shoulder pulling back. It starts to want to kind of sink down to the ground. You're going to keep pulling it back away from the floor. So you might not come over very far onto your right hip. That's just the direction you're going in. And you can always rest your head back down to the ground or onto a block or a blanket. Don't really worry about what your legs are doing so much here. Just try and get yourself comfortable as you can, but it can be quite an intense stretch at the front of the shoulder there. You could try to bend the knees towards the left side of the mat if that feels comfortable. And stay for another couple of breaths. Keep pulling the shoulder away from the ground. And then come back onto the belly. Place the left arm into cactus pose and bring the right hand by your ribs. Now pull the left shoulder back and start to push into the right hand to roll over onto the left hip. Now just resting the head back down or onto a block or a cushion.
Keep pulling the shoulder back so it doesn't droop forwards and touch the ground. So you might notice that there's differences in one side more than the other. Just observe those. And it might feel nice to bend the knees over towards the right side of your mat, but really just try and get as comfortable as you can. Okay, and just slowly spill back onto your belly. Bring the hands back by the lower ribs. Press to all fours. Take a deep breath. Tuck the toes under and come into downward facing dog. To pedal through the feet. And then walk the feet to the hands. Have the feet about hip width apart. Just catch hold of opposite elbows and allow the body to relax. You can take gentle sway from side to side if it feels good. And release the arms. Slowly come up to standing. Reach the arms up over the head. And exhale, bow forwards. Bring the hands all the way back down to the ground or to blocks. Inhale, take a half lift. Exhale, step back to plank pose. And bring the knees down to the ground. Lift the tailbone, bring your spine into extension so the heart's reaching forwards. And then bend the elbows, bring the heart down to the earth. Slide forwards onto your belly. Pull the shoulders back, reach the heart forwards. And then press to all fours. Reach the right arm up to the sky. And then slide the right arm underneath the left. Just slide it all the way through. Bend your left elbow. Keep sliding the right hand away from you and bring the shoulder and the side of the head to the ground. And then reach the left hand towards the top of the mat. Come onto your fingertips and walk the hand a little bit more towards the right side. So you've really got some funky things going on in the spine here. We're in extension, rotation, and lateral flexion. Take a nice deep breath. Now just slide the left hand back towards the left shoulder. And before we move, just round the upper back, like you're trying to hide the heart away. So just to add in a little bit of spinal flexion here as well. Get all four movements in on the one pose. And then press down into the left hand, reach the right arm up. And the right hand comes back to the ground. Just feel the stability of the earth beneath you. Feel the sensations in the spine. Then reach the left arm up to the sky. Take the left hand all the way underneath the right. Bend into the right elbow. Keep reaching the left hand away from you. Come back down to your shoulder and the side of the head. Then reach the right arm forwards and off a little bit more towards the left side.
Take a deep breath. And bring the right hand back by your shoulder. And then start to round the upper back. So you're pushing your upper back towards the left side of the mat. Like you're trying to hide your heart away. You find a little bit of flexion there as well. Then press down into the right hand. Reach the left arm up. And come back to all fours. Tucking the toes under. Start to push the weight of the hips back onto the heels. So you'll start to feel a stretch through the soles of the feet. Now you can stay here or start to walk the hands closer to the knees. So now there'll be more weight on the feet. So the more weight you're putting onto your feet, the more intense the stretch is going to get in the bottom of the feet and in the toes. So you can stay here with the hands down, finding flexion of the spine where the back's grounding, or you can start to bring the hands onto the thighs and then extension of the spine, where you lift the heart up. Take a deep breath. Inhale, reach the arms up. Exhale and rotate the spine, turn towards the right side, open the arms to shoulder level. Inhale, reach the arms up. Exhale, turn towards the left side, arms out to shoulder level. And then inhale, reach the arms up. And exhale, bring the hands back down to the ground. You can untuck the toes and just tap out the tops of the feet. And we're going to turn side to side. So just from the side body, not the hips, start to move and look towards the feet. And then turn to the other side. So really feel the lateral flexion of the spine. So your internal and external obliques on the same side are working to contract the muscles of the side body on one side, and they're really stretching out on the other side. And we'll come back to the center, tuck the toes under and come into downward facing dog. Now lift the right leg to the sky. Bend the knee and open the hip. Take some circles with the ankle. And step the right foot on the outside of the right hand. And bring the back knee down to the ground. Stay on the hands just for a moment. Bring the right hand onto the right thigh. And come onto the heel of the foot and just gently ease the thigh outwards. So you open up the hip, and then the little toe side of the foot can come back down to the ground. If you're feeling any pain in the knee, then don't do the external rotation here. So extend the spine first, lift the heart. Bring the right hand back down to the ground. Turn the right toes so they face forwards. Then bring the left knee in slightly, so you've got more of a square, boxy shape with the legs. Then we're going to flex the spine, start to round through the back. Bring the forearms to the ground or to a block, or you can take your hands a little bit off towards the left side. That might help you actually bring the forearms down. And just let the head relax. So keep pressing the right foot into the ground and slightly sway your hip out towards the right side and up. So it goes out and up. So really opening into the hip area there. Coming back up onto the hands. We're going to step the left foot on the outside of the left hand and we'll come into Malasana Yogi squat. So sinking the hips down. You can always sit onto a block if you don't have a block and this is really uncomfortable, then this is kind of the next best thing, to sit the bottom on the floor but keep the knees hugging in towards the armpits if you can't stay in a squat position for too long. So we're going to first of all bring the hands to the heart, find the extension of the spine, lifting the heart towards the thumbs, pressing the backs of the arms out into the knees. Take a deep breath here. Then bring the hands to the ground, start to walk the hands forwards, rounding through the back, finding spinal flexion, dropping the head down towards the floor. And take the right hand towards the right side and push the shoulder back. So we want to keep pushing the right shoulder into the knee and then reach the left arm up to the sky. So here's an element of rotation and lateral flexion as well. And bringing the left hand back down to the ground, sweep it off to the left side. Reach the right arm up towards the sky. Bring the hands down. And we're going to just lift the hips enough to step the right foot to the back of the mat. So the hands are back on the inside of the left foot this time. Drop the back knee down. We're going to stay on the right hand, bring the left hand onto the left thigh. Lift the toes from the floor so you come onto your heel of your foot and then start to push, but don't force the left thigh out away from you. So you're externally rotating at the hip. And then just let the little toe side of the foot come down to the ground. Keep lifting the heart up, squeezing the two shoulder blades together into spinal extension. And then bring the left foot so it's flat on the floor, hand down to the ground, and just nudge the right knee in so you're in more of a boxy shape. And we're going to find flexion of the spine, start to round through the upper back and bring the arms to the ground or a block if you can. And sometimes if you just walk the hands over towards the right side, that's going to help you actually find the ground underneath you. So from here, we want to find more of an opening in the hip. So lift your left buttocks up and out to the left. And come back up onto the hands. Step the right foot on the outside of the right hand into a kind of slightly wider legged forward fold. Just let the body relax. You can hold opposite elbows or to keep the hands down. Take a deep breath. And nice and slowly come up to stand. Step the feet to the hip width apart. Interlace the fingers behind the lower back. And squeeze the two shoulder blades towards one another. Lift the heart towards the ceiling. Start to bend the knees, sit the hips back into chair pose with spinal extension. Squeezing the two shoulder blades towards one another. Take a nice deep breath. And then lean forwards with the heart. Try to connect the belly to the thighs. Lift the hands away from the lower back. Round the upper back, drop the head towards the floor. And release the hands down to the ground. Inhale, take a half lift. Exhale and fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Step the left foot to the back of the mat and bring the knee down. Untuck the back toes. Squeeze the feet towards each other. Inhale, reach the arms up to the sky. Bring the palms together to touch. Then bend the elbows and bring the thumbs to the back of the neck. Just let the head press back into the thumbs. Take a deep breath, lifting the heart to the sky. And release the hands to the floor. And just move the hips back so they stack over the back knee and start to extend the front leg straight or straight-ish. Dig the heel into the ground, squeeze the 2 feet towards each other. And then round the upper back, flexion of the spine as you bring the head down towards the knee. And bend back into the front knee, place the foot flat onto the floor. Come onto your fingertips, tuck the back toes, lift the knee, reach the heart forwards. And then step the left foot to the top of the mat, back into a forward fold. Inhale, reach the arms all the way up. And exhale, fold all the way back down. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale and fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, step the right foot to the back of the mat and bring the knee to the ground. Untuck the back toes, squeeze the 2 feet towards one another, then reach the arms up overhead. Bringing the palms together, bend the elbows and bring the thumbs to the back of the neck. And push the head back into the thumbs. Take a big breath, lift the heart. And release the hands down to the ground. Just move the hips back slightly so they stack over the back knee. Extend the front leg straight. Come onto the heel, dig the heel into the ground and squeeze the 2 feet towards one another. And then round through the back, bring the head down towards the shin. Take a deep breath. Then bend back into the front knee, place the foot flat onto the floor, tuck the back toes, lift the knee from the ground, reach the heart forwards, squeezing the 2 feet towards one another, take a deep breath. And step the right foot forwards into a forward fold. And inhale, rise all the way up, reach the arms up. And exhale, fold all the way forwards. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, step back to downward facing dog. Now you can, I like to enter this pigeon pose from down dog. If you'd rather do it on all fours, take pressure off the wrists, you're more than welcome. So reach the right leg to the sky, inhale.
Exhale, bring the right shin across the mat for pigeon pose. So if the shin is on a diagonal position, sliding the left leg back. So we're going to walk the hands back towards the hips first of all. You can always place a block under the hip if you have one. Reach the heart up, extend the spine. And then flexion of the spine as you bring the forearms down to the ground. Now walk the arms over towards the left side, so you're getting lateral flexion of the spine as well. Come back onto the hands. Walk the hands towards the right side. Just bring the right hand behind you, behind your hip, just so you're getting a slight rotation of the spine here. And come back to face the front, and we'll move back to downward facing dog. Again, if you prefer to be on all fours, you can take it from that position. Inhale, lift the left leg up. Exhale, bring the left shin across the mat for pigeon. So the shin's on a diagonal. Slide the right leg back. Walk the hands back towards the hips. Lift the heart. Extend the spine. Then bow forwards, come onto the forearms into flexion of the spine. Take the arms over towards the right side into lateral flexion. Back onto the hands. Take the hands over towards the left side and slide the left hand back as if you're taking it back behind you. Turn the chest towards the left side. And come back to center. Just roll over onto the left hip and bring the right leg so it touches your foot. Let me just mirror you here. So you've still got your left knee bent, right leg extended. So we're going to take the right hand onto the left thigh and rotate towards the left side. Then reach the left arm up and lean towards your right toes into lateral flexion. Feel the stretch down the left side of the body. And come back to center. Change sides. So we're going to extend the left leg, bend the right, bring the foot to the thigh. Turn towards the right side, left hand onto the right thigh. Turn the chest towards the right side of the room. Then reach the right arm up, over towards your left toes. Feel the opening down the right side of the body. And back to the center, bring the soles of the feet together. Inhale, lift the heart.
Exhale, round through the back, bringing the head down towards the feet. Slowly make your way up. Bring the feet flat onto the floor. Inhale, lift the heart. Exhale, round through the spine. A couple more times with breath. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. And we're going to lower all the way down onto the ground. Bring the knees into the chest. Round through the spine, bring the nose towards the knees. Then open up and extend nice and long. Point the toes, reach the arms over the head. Take the hands over towards the right corner of the mat and then the feet towards the right corner of the mat. Just feel the opening down the left side of the body. And changing sides, taking the hands and the feet towards the left corners of the mat, stretching through the right side of the body. Coming back to the center, bend the knees, place the feet flat onto the floor. Let the knees roll from side to side. Hold the knees over the left side and just bring the right knee to stack on top of the left. You can have the arms either in cactus or extend the arms out to the side or keep them up over the head, whatever feels like a nice stretch for you right now. And come back onto the feet and just let the knees sway side to side. Hold the knees over towards the right side and then just bring the left knee on top of the right. Come back onto the back. And the knees into the chest. Nose towards the knees. Bring the soles of the feet to the floor about as wide as the mat. And just let the knees fall into touch. Turn the palms upwards towards the sky. Relax the shoulders. Observe the sensations in the spine throughout the whole of the back. You're welcome to stay in this position as we start to relax, or you can extend the legs out straight into shavasana. Feel the sensations in the feet. And allow the feet to relax. Relax the thighs, calves, the hips, the pelvis. Allow the whole of the lower body to feel heavy into the ground. Relax through the back, the shoulders, the arms, hands and the fingers. The whole upper body heavy and relaxed. Relax the face, the head, and the whole body becomes heavier and heavier. Take a deep breath. Start to move the fingers and the toes. Roll over onto your favorite side. And then make your way to a seat. Bringing the hands to the heart center. Observe what you've created from your practice today. Thank you for being here. Namaste.